Oh, Jesus, Michaela, really? I'm eating cucumbers.
What is going on? I'm very nervous that the dog is burning in hell right now for his past sins.
What?
Oh God!
Why'd you have to do that?
What, that is a fucking ringtone.
I got armed Antifa protects drag brunch in Texas.
Let's do it.
This sounds interesting because I'm willing to bet that some of these guys are going to have problems with the guns, which is ironic because it's Texas.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of laws on the books that these guys voted for that say that these guys are allowed to do this.
Oh, whoa! Hang on. Stand right there. I got it on camera. Hey, Blue! Hey, she just spit on me. She just spat on me.
Well, what did you call them earlier when you were talking to them? Didn't you call them a bunch of fucking pussies?
No, I called them pussies.
Yeah, I mean, these people here.
No, just the ones that are wielding AR-47s.
So what are you here to do today?
I'm here to support people that don't indoctrinate and groom little 8-year-old kids. Credulous.
So why?
Well, the good news is that you're at a brunch, which is usually at a place that doesn't allow children. For the sake of them serving alcohol. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's interesting how these guys, like, want to sound, like, they want to believe their argument is, like, so super sound.
Yeah.
And it's just like, listen, we see the forest through the trees. We see what you're really talking about. So, like, just stop.
It's so difficult when, like, for the most part, when you see people like this, racist, homophobes, shit like that, when you see people like that screaming on the street or whatever, it's really easy to just see the hate and the anger and like, you know, just the, hey, Danky.
Hey, Danky. Hey, baby.
It's really easy to just see that and hate that. But it's really difficult when you can see the way that their fear for the people that they care about be manipulated and used against people who are not their enemy at all. Like, totally, when you can see the mental twisting that has happened, and it's like, there's no way for me to stand here and undo that for you, especially when you're just screaming at me.
Yeah, not in, like, the moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's no way to fix this on this hot-ass Texas sidewalk. You know what I mean? Like, that's not happening right this second, sir. So, but you know what? You're right. Like, it is easy to forget, too, that what they think is going on is super sinister, and that's why they're reacting with such passions, you know?
The QAnon people, what they, like, a lot of what they believe is fucking horrendous, and they truly believe it's happening. And so I understand with, like, their emotional response to it. It's just a problem that they don't take 2 seconds to think about how that's not fucking happening at all. And also pretty much everything that they're accusing, most of what QAnon levels at, like, quote, politicians and the Hollywood elite is also stuff that has been anti-Semitic rhetoric for the better part of the last, like, 3,000 years.
Yeah.
Like, they drink baby's blood is literally what they said about Jewish people for hundreds, thousands of years now, to try and get people to be afraid of them. And so now they're just recontextualizing it to a secret group of politicians and Hollywood people. And, like, it's just hard when you can see that it's fear that's being manipulated, and you're like, I understand that you're afraid, but you're afraid for the wrong reasons and from the wrong people.
Yeah, I get that. I also see, like, but I guess I just wonder what percentage here is just using this now to kind of, like, reaffirm biases that they had already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, I mean,
like, because I I guess the side that I'm usually fighting against when it comes to these people is the people that were like, "See, I knew it." Like,
Yeah.
I knew them quarrs weren't on the up and up, and it's like, yeah, well, I'm sure you would have figured something out to think that way anyway.
The second strongest force in the world is cognitive bias, propelled along by bias, which is only second to me knowing that I'm right.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. But I mean, it's all. But I guess the funny part about this interaction to me is that, like, if there was something going on that these guys like were passionate about that they wanted to protect, they would be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Especially here in Texas. Like,
right. And yeah, I by no means mean to defend these people. Like,
no, I mean, no, whatever. I mean, like, some of it's worth defending the people who are in that circumstance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because like you said, like there are some people that they hear this story, they don't know how to Occam's razor the story at all, so they just kind of like see it at face value. They take it at face value and they go, okay, well, that's horrible. We should do something about that. Like, I don't know. It's so cut and dry when you think about it like that. But it's like so cut and dry the other way too, where it's somebody just kind of being like, "Oh, sweet. Okay, that's a reason why I can hate gay and trans people."
Right.
That is now like I can be justified in it. Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really strange too. The fact that like conspiracy people like that aren't just reading headlines and freaking out. Like the conspiracy people that actually like kind of analyze things and are like over analyzing things, they're not unintelligent. That over analysis of everything comes from intelligence. It's unfortunate because it just means that their brain, like, because some people's brains are just really, really good at noticing patterns. Okay? And when you're really, really good at noticing patterns, you just so happen to also be good at like mathematics and chemistry and physics, because those are very patterns based, formula based STEM fields. So like it's very, very strange too to like see these people who are just way smarter than this.
Yeah,
just falling for it head over heels.
It really is a shame because like I think a lot of it is like humans are just hardwired in general to look for patterns, and so you kind of tend to put things together anyways. And there's also kind of this human need for like, this terrible thing happened, there must be a terrible reason why. And it's just not all that way. Always, it's mostly not that way. The reason why is sometimes people are shitty and terrible things happen.
Yeah.
And it's so much more comforting to know that there's a boogeyman to blame than that's how the world works sometimes. And it's even more frustrating to know that like our government does not tell us everything. They do lie to us. They do bullshit. But you're wasting so much resources on this stuff that, like, why would we fake the moon landing?
Yeah. And there's a certain degree of, like, those things that they do, like, that, like, there's things that the government does that's horrible and greedy and just overall, like, not good for the rest of humanity. That they do right there in the open.
The paperclip, Project Paperclip, the Tuskegee experiments, MK Ultra, the Vietnam War. Like, there's so much.
Even just like experimentation done on unwilling soldiers with hallucinogens. Like, there's all kinds of crazy shit that the government does that we have like on the record that they're doing very evidently right in front of us. Like, I mean, it's just like like I don't understand why these guys don't put the same energy into being like, you know what? A gerrymandering is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Because like if that's not even a conspiracy,
that's
you can just
happening.
look at the maps and be
We
like,
can
yeah,
watch
you're doing that.
we see every year the counties get to be weirder shapes. Like, why can't you guys like conspire around that?
It's really weird that you have every county in this section except for like a donut hole in the middle.
Yeah, like
Why?
Why?
Why is that? Well, that's low income area, so they don't vote for me. So I forget who it was, but there was I think he was a psychologist or a scientist or something, but he basically said anytime you think there's a conspiracy theory, ask yourself 3 questions. Who would benefit from it? Where would the money come from? How many people would have to keep quiet about this thing?
Yeah,
and
that's a big thing too. The people
like,
keeping quiet.
The moon landing. How many fucking people were, like 400,000, 500,000 people were involved in the moon landing?
Mm-hmm.
You think every single one of them is keeping quiet that we shot it on a set? Not to mention Russia, who had a vested stake in calling this fake, and 50 years in the 50 or 60 years since it happened, has not once said it was a fake. And if anybody was going to call it a fake, it would be the people who we beat to the moon.
Yeah, that is a good point.
I wonder what else this guy has to say.
I wasn't. I was walking over here to talk somewhere. I was walking over here to talk to somebody, and this one...
And the thing is, these guys get so loud and rowdy that the cops just have to take the other... They have to take, like, the hard middle stance and be like, listen, you're being kind of rowdy, too. I need you to calm down.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Tex.
Jesus.
The
Tex, yeah, right.
American screed.
Come on now.
You know what? You can.
Who do you need to talk to?
I didn't. I wanted to go talk to somebody. None of your fucking business who I want to talk to.
He's so flustered.
Okay.
Like, over not a lot.
I know, because I thought this was a public sidewalk. I'm being peaceful. I was just going to talk to somebody. Fucking clothes. Look, I was just going to talk to someone. I get my 5.
Oh, God.
You can't be here.
See, I just wonder... See, like, that guy, I feel like, is going to say that about gay people anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but like, you also like, and again, I by no means mean to defend anyone of any ilk. No matter what your history, your past, your current is your fucking responsibility to realize that you are being hateful and hurtful to people and do something about it.
Yeah.
But he's like, he was gonna say that about gay people anyways because he was also enforced growing up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Which, I mean, is still a problem, and it isn't an excuse. It's just... My point is that, like, it's sad to know that, like, at the end of the day, most people are just... They all want the same thing, just different people get twisted in different ways as to what the problem to get that is.
Yeah.
You know, most people want a calm life and the ones that they love to be safe.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll say this, that there was something I noticed. So, like, when Trump... What's up? Oh, yeah. The hard middle stance. The hard middle stance is slang for genitals.
It means your penis.
That's what I'm going to call it from now on. I'm just gonna walk down. I'm just gonna walk right into the bedroom and be like, "Hey, baby, I think I need you to take the hard middle stance."
Can you do me a favor and see things from the hard middle stance?
Yeah, and then she starts lecturing me about how like people are not their beliefs entirely. Listen, we all grow up with inherent biases, and I'm like, listen, I don't think we have the same idea of what I meant by that.
I meant like sexy time.
I meant like sex stuff, like
I meant I kind of wanted you to touch it a little bit. Well, that's fine, but first she like pulls down like a shutter and turns on a projector and takes out a textbook. She's like, but first you have to turn to chapter 32.
Listen,
of your
we need
ethics
to
book.
discuss the validity of
Yeah.
centrism.
Yeah.
Okay? That would be amazing, actually. That would be a great bit. That would be a great bit. But like when it comes to like I don't know. So like when it comes to situations like this, I guess the big thing that I question the big thing that I make fun of with these guys a lot is that they want the same thing, you know? Is that like so like when Trump was president, like I don't know, I didn't shy away from talking to people that were like Trumpers because I don't know, I was kind of fascinated because I was like cuz like I was sort of like I was sort of like in the camp of like I almost like I didn't mind the idea of either one of them becoming president at the time of Trump or Hillary because I just didn't like them both pretty equally.
That's fair.
And so like for one thing I got called supporters of both which was very interesting. So like the fact that like people who were on like Trump's side were like, you're nothing but a hippie Democrat, and then people on the Democrat side was like, you're not sufficiently scared enough, so you're a Trump supporter. And I'm like, all right, I'm voting for Hillary. Like that's like, you know, I vote blue. I know what the letter on my card means. Like But one thing that it taught me was that, yeah, these guys, that both sides really, like, there's a way to word things when you're talking to either side to make them both say yes. You know what I mean?
Right.
The only problem is that a lot of people on the super far right, you know, use that to their advantage too, because, like, you sort of have to do this thing where you have to like cut through the semi-reasonable arguments in order to get to the core of what they're talking about. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about these guys, where they're like, I just want my kids to be safe. And it's like, that's fine. I can completely understand that. From who, though? And it's like, well, my neighbor's gay, so I don't need them going over there. And it's like, well, you're allowed that thought. But
and they're go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
You're allowed that thought, but like you're not allowed to like allow it to like affect the rest of society. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is definitely what I mean by like you have a responsibility to figure your shit out and not let it affect people. And don't get me wrong, like fuck this guy and fuck anybody who has a problem with anybody else living their life in a happy way and makes judgments on them as long as they're not, you know, hurting anybody around them. But and there's definitely layers to it.
Sorry.
Night Wallflower. There's definitely layers between, you know, there's the layer of like what they say is the quote like rational argument of like, well, you know, I just want my kids to be safe. And then there's the underneath layer that is like, I'm just afraid of gay people, basically, or I hate them. And definitely it's all toxic, it's all terrible. But I guess I'm more lamenting that like those thoughts, those feelings, those fears, that hatred, it like the way that it is cultivated and encouraged and grown in people, and that like I do believe that it's inherently from a place of like wanting to be safe, wanting to be able to provide, like, have a good life for you and your family. It's just it's lamenting the fact that is then twisted so much that it becomes hating and fearing somebody who just happens to be gay or a different race than you.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's I just like it's not a defense of it at all.
Mhm.
It's fucking horrendous, and I don't like. It's not as easy as like, oh well, you know, they just want. I'm not like saying that they want to keep their people safe is not saying, well, then they should be kept safe from gay people or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that like that is the ego. That's the id. You know, that's the deep down impulse that is then fed upon in super dark, fucked up ways to twist that to becoming, well, we have to keep them safe from the gays. When it's like, what are you talking? No, you don't.
Yeah, or like
Don't.
Or people who are take kind of a lean towards like the ethno-nationalist side of things. We'll use the exact same argument where it's like, I just want my family to be safe. And then, you know, when you dig a little deeper on that, then it's kind of like, well, you know, from like people who don't look like me. And it's like, okay, well, that's less than reasonable. Like, I guess the PSA would be to just like, don't take those arguments, don't take those opening statements at face value, but also but also take into account that fear that they're feeling has alternate solutions to prejudice.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's not that I think it's that the target of the fears has become so embedded as to be unrecognizable, and they're so incorrect.
Yeah.
If anything about your belief in the world means that you decide you hate somebody that you've never met and know nothing about based on learning a single piece of information about them that has nothing to do with them hurting other people, check your beliefs, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Let me see how much more of this there is.
You know, I'm sorry.
Like 40 seconds.
I went to talk to a friend of mine over here, and I got five of them this much, and he said, get off of here, you can't be here. I was trying to talk to a friend.
Sir, do you support the Second Amendment? Do you support the Second Amendment?
Why can't I be on a public sidewalk?
Why would you bring an AK-7?
There's so much going on. I love the people. I love the bystanders, though.
Yeah.
Like, I love these people in the back, just kind of being like, "Yep."
Welcome to Texas.
Yep. They don't watch they don't watch our shows. They just go to the places where this is happening, and they just watch it. They just have it all set up there.